On tonight's show, two of the best small panel vans, the Mercedes Vito and Renault Traffic, will be battling it out for the championship crown. And Brian will be taking a look at the second-hand Citroen Berlingo. Here we are in Stuttgart, in the middle of the Mercedes-Benz test track, where they test cars, trucks and vans. But before we actually go on the test track, we're going to have a look at their acoustic chamber. No, I'm not mixing the latest club hits, but actually here we are at Mercedes-Benz at their anechoic chamber, where they test the noise of vehicles, trucks and vans. And in fact, they must be doing something right at the moment, because if you look at a van in terms of noise nowadays, one van is equivalent to 20 vans over 20 years ago. First thing you notice is the fact that there's no floor. We're actually suspended 20-30 feet above a 1,000-ton concrete block. That's sat on 400 springs as well to ensure there's no noise and no vibrations. You'll also find out that the building is inside another building, again to keep the noise and vibrations down. And last but not least, look at the sides, and we also look at the roof, and that's covered with fiberglass to ensure that, again, the sound deadening is the best if possible. What we're also going to do now is talk to one of the experts, who's Mr. Rolf, is going to tell us more about this chamber.
Wir sind jetzt hier in dem großen Geräuschrollprüfstand.
This is the center of the truck and van development. If we say acoustics, of course, we need facilities to test noise. 20 years ago, the limit values have been made more strict. That was most of all about the exterior noise. So this is why we built this facility here, which is still in operation. We do analyses and studies as to how we can reduce noise that influence emissions. That's the exterior noise. There have been very strict regulations, and the regulations have been stricter over the years. And what's also important is that inside the cab we produce a good interior noise, a low interior noise, and include that in our development right from the beginning. You need a lot of software, so everything is done with computers. You cannot see a lot, but the results are comprehensive analyses, which start with a frequency analysis, then specific frequency analysis, level measurements, and so on.
Zu dieser Einrichtung. The
operating states of this vehicle, that the vehicle would have on the road, can be simulated here. You can simulate downhill and uphill gradients without any problem.
Join me later in the show when we have a look at the future of truck technology.
The commercial tip for this week, let's have a look at the van. Popular with hire and contract fleets. One Achilles heel though. Let's have a look. Right, this week we have Citroen Berlingo. Now, one main problem with the Berlingo we'll find is not at eye level. We need to look up on the roof where we've got the anchorages for the roof bars. These will rust and can also cause water ingress into the van. Look for that. The second thing, because we've got a dead flat panelled van, look down the side of that van. Look down the side, make sure there's no ripples, no damage. They can take severe damage on those panels. Now, under the bonnet, what have we got? A very economical, lively little engine, 1.8. We will return out of this around about the top end of the 40s, around town 42, that's not bad, but we have one Achilles heel we need to look for under this bonnet. The engine will suffer bad oil leaks on the front lower oil seal. This will leak onto the cam belt will deteriorate, and we can end up with a damaged engine, i.e. cylinder head and valves. This can happen even at 20,000 miles. Get it checked. The second thing under the bonnet is corrosion. It will suffer under here, and we can already see on this model, even though it's on an R plate, very bad corrosion setting in under these wheels. And on this side as well, the seam's heavily rusted. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you have something done about it. It can be very expensive. Now, to the interior. On the interior of the vehicle, again, we suffer a car-derived van, which they've put no thought again into luggage or any other sort of equipment put in the front for the driver. No spaces for documentation or anything. But the one thing they have put in the van is a keypad. And this keypad is an alarm. You can isolate the vehicle, punch in your own key number, and away you go. Now, they stopped putting that in after '98, but it's a good attribute. If you're looking for one of these, look for one with a keypad on. Let's have a look in the back. What have we got? Now, you'll notice a bit of difference on this van. We've got glass in the back. Can be an attribute. Can cost you more on insurance. Certainly check with your insurance company. Good solid door restraints. And this time you can see in the back exactly what you can do. You don't need just a flat floor. You can actually build the floor up. You can make better storage area. But the problem you're going to have if you're not careful, there's no load restraints. And the stuff you put in the back here will end up on the passenger seat if you stop quickly. If you have anything built in like this, make sure there's load restraints. There aren't any on there, can be dangerous. Good solid doors, good solid fitment. The vehicle itself is a good solid van. You can fit tow bars on. You can tow on the back end of this about 750 kilos. Right, and what have we got with this nice little package now? It comes in 700 and 800 kilo carrying capacity. The 1998 version will come with the keypad for the immobilisation. Now, after that, they didn't fit it for some reason. A good price, £3,000, but remember, all commercial vehicles carry 17% VAT on top of that. But £3,000, good price for that van.
Here we are at the Hydropulse rig, and what this does is simulate road test conditions so they can test the componentry on the chassis and on the vehicle itself. So what we're going to do is have a look round.
On this test rig we are testing parts for mounting on the frame.
So here we are underneath the test rig itself, and as you can see, this 7-ton chassis has been suspended by 4 giant arms. And what's happening is this is simulating a road test condition. And as you can see, it seems to be a very, very bumpy road. 1 month on here is equivalent to 5 months out on the road.
The first step, we make measurement with real cars on real roads,
Right.
on very bad road with big bumps and this one. The displacement, the forces normally come from the road, from the bumps, and this one are simulated here with Hydropulse cylinders. You can see it here, directly to the frame.
Talk about shake, rattle and roll. This vehicle is actually shaken, rattled and very rolled. And if you look at the engine there, inside the chassis, that's quite frightening to me.
The first point you see here is not a complete car. You don't need a complete car. When you are on a real road, you need a car with complete.
Right.
Here we don't need a cab, we don't need an engine in function, we don't need axles. We need only the part in itself and a few parts around there. That's one reason why we do this. Here in the room you can test every day. It can snow, it can rain, it can be very hot, it's no problem. We're always the same. And we are faster here. When you're on a real road, you have people who drive the car. They cannot drive day and night. Okay, they can change the people, but it's constant. And it's always the same. We are 4 times or 5 times faster than you tested on a special test track. These are the reasons why we do this here.
And this is where all the data is collected, and as you can see there's a lot of information gathered, which just goes to show that a test rig like this is worth its weight in gold as far as research and development is concerned. Let's go out on the test track now and see how that's put into future vehicles. Now, in the world of car journalism, the idea of testing a Mercedes against a Renault might seem a little strange. After all, Renaults are mass producers of everyday cars, whereas Mercedes produce some of the most desirable cars in the world. But we're not testing cars, are we? In the past, to call a van sexy or stylish was near impossible. Treated by many as a skip with wheels, they look just as bad. But with the new Traffic, Renault have managed to make the white van man the sex symbol that he's always wanted to be. With pronounced wheel arches, extra large headlights, a plunging bonnet line and rear vertical lights, the Traffic certainly looks more aggressive and stylish than any other van currently on the market. In contrast to the futuristic Traffic, the Mercedes Vito is far more traditional. Despite a car-like front, rounded edges and the famous three-pointed star on the grille, the Vito could easily be mistaken for any other van on the market, albeit an expensive one. So storage inside the Traffic is pretty good. We have two cup holders either side of the dashboard, we have a shelf underneath the instrument panel, and we have a glove box. In fact, the glove box is one of the more quirky things about this Traffic. It's refrigerated and it's handy for keeping your sandwiches in on a hot summer's day. So overall, pretty good. We get over here, things aren't quite as good. We've got two deep shelves in the fascia, we've got pockets under each seat, and we've got bins within the doors. There aren't any real cup holders, and certainly as for your refrigerated glove box, well, the glove box isn't even covered. So it looks as if the Traffic has drawn first blood. But let's get out on the road now and see if the Vito can draw level. Vito's available with 4 engines. You can choose between 3 common rail diesel engines with powers ranging from 82 brake horsepower to 122. Alternatively, there's a petrol unit available with 129 brake horsepower. The dash of the Vito isn't that bad, and it's certainly a long way from the vans of the past. The only problem in the search for this car-like design, some of the layouts has suffered slightly. For instance, despite the good position of the gear lever, some of the controls are slightly obscured, but that's only a minor criticism of it. Mercedes Vito is available from £12,450 to £14,750. It's got 2 engines, a 2.2 CDI common rail diesel engine and a 2-litre petrol and 4 power outputs. It has a payload of 1,000 kilograms and a load volume of 4.8 cubic metres. Well, that's it for this part of trucks, but join us after the break when we look at which of the 2 vans wins our removal test. Despite both vans looking good, let's not forget the main reason to buy a van is to transport goods from A to B. So with that in mind, we're going to have a look at our 2 small vans and see which is going to pass the dreaded removal test. So, the Renault wins on load space, but let's see how it does out on the road. The Traffic is currently available with 2 common rail diesel engines. The 1.9 litre offers either 82 or 100 brake horsepower, and they will be shortly joined by a 120 brake horsepower 2 litre petrol engine and a 2.5 diesel offering 133 brake horsepower. Now, an innovation in the van market is a 6-speed gearbox. The extra gear gives more flexibility and makes the van's power delivery a lot smoother. ensuring that you get the right amount of torque no matter what's in the back of the van. Renault Traffic is available from £11,995 to £13,300. It's got 2 engines, a 1.9 common rail diesel engine and a 2 litre petrol and 3 power outputs. It's also got a payload of 1,023 to 1,212 kilograms. There is no doubt that both of these vans are highly capable load luggers. On the one hand, the Vito's offers Mercedes quality, impressive engines and good carrying ability. But on the other hand, you have the Traffic. Not only does it match the Vito in all areas, but at the same time, it also manages to be more desirable, something most Renaults only dream of.
Hello, I'm Threlkeld. Now today I'm in search of ice cream vans. Now we don't see a lot of them about these days, do they? Well, I've done my research and I know that there's an ice cream van that does actually stop here on this corner. And to be quite honest, I quite fancy a 99 because I've not had one of those in ages. And actually, here he is now. I hope he stops for me. I didn't think you was going to stop there. Have a 99, please.
Would you like a small or a large?
Oh, a large, please. You don't see many ice cream vans around these days, do you?
No.
No, I remember when I was little, they were always out and about. You're not always out and about. I know it's a bit cold today, but...
It's the supermarkets.
Oh, is that what
We
it is?
can't keep up.
No, what a shame. Just looking at your van, you've made a few modifications I can see to suit your job.
Yeah.
Can I come in and have a look?
Of course you can.
Can I? There's cheek for you. And here I am struggling through, but I'm here. Well, you know, Wes, I was thinking about the engine size. It's a Mercedes, isn't it, there?
Yes.
But what engine size is it?
It's a 2.8 diesel.
I was just thinking the speed limits, you know, especially up an ice cream van with kids about. It's quite slow, isn't it?
Yeah, but you need the engine size to carry the weight of the machinery
Right.
that's in the van.
Now, these sort of vans, they can be used for anything, can't they? It's not just an ice cream van. But you've kitted it out to be an ice cream van.
Yeah.
How did you go about that? What did you do?
Well, it's a Mercedes van and chassis,
Right.
and then it's built up with a fiberglass body
Right.
onto a Mercedes van,
Right.
and then the engines are put in with a drive shaft from the engine to run that.
Good grief, it's very complicated. Does that mean that when you're doing ice cream or making ice cream, you've got to keep your engine running?
Yeah,
Does it use a lot of diesel?
slightly more, yeah.
So in other words, you've got to sell loads of ice creams then?
Try, yeah.
What about your storage? What is this here?
Well, this is for the drinks, for cold drinks.
Right, so this is like your freezer section, yeah?
This is a chiller unit, this
Oh,
one.
excuse me. Chilling unit.
Yeah.
Let's get it right. What's this one?
This is a freezer.
That's the freezer with all your
For the
ice
ice lollies.
creams. We like ice creams and lollies. Yeah. Now, is this ready?
Yeah.
Making ice creams. Do you think I could have a little bash because I want to help you sell your ice creams? You have to pay for your diesel.
Of course you can.
Right. Well, what's the first thing you have to do?
The cone, switch on.
And that is opens a valve from the
Yeah.
engine. So I am learning things. Okay. What next?
And it's ready to go.
I think I'm ready for my first customer. Still waiting. Still waiting. Well, that was my first customer. I've had a fantastic day, an exciting day. I've learned all there is to know about ice cream vans and also how to make ice creams, thanks to Wesley. My children will be very, very proud. So from me, Threlkeld, it's over and out. See you next time.
We saw earlier on in the programme the test rig that Mercedes used for simulating road tests. Well, this is where it actually happens. What Mercedes-Benz have got there is they looked for the worst road in Germany and recreated it brick by brick so that they get the worst test conditions possible. Well, this isn't a computer game. We're actually here for real. We're at the Mercedes-Benz test track with the Mercedes Actros with joystick control.
I drive the truck with the side stick.
Can you show us a little bit how the controls work as well?
There's a motor underneath this armrest, or in this armrest,
Der das Feedback gibt
which gives me the feedback.
und damit auch das Gefühl für die Straße.
And that gives me also a feel for the road.
Gas geben,
I can
bremsen,
accelerate with one of these side sticks, I can steer the car and also brake the car. Well, we're trying to analyze alternative control concepts,
die sich mit Steer-by-Wire realisieren lassen.
which can be realized with the help of steer-by-wire. And we also think that a truck like this can be controlled much more intuitively with a side stick like this.
How long are we before we're actually in production?
Is not permitted yet. It will take another 3 to 5 years until this will be permitted.
The legislation is the most innovation driver, driving by sticks. I think it's a very, the look into a very far future, let me say, in 20 years.
Who would have believed that over 100 years ago this was state-of-the-art technology? So who knows, in 50 years from now, some of the inventions we've seen today might end up in a museum like this. Join us next week, we can find out how I got on in taking my HGV driver's test. Plus, we'll be leaving the city behind and finding out how two four-wheel drive vans handle life down on the farm.